My family excluded me from their Bahamas trip and expected me to pet sit for free. So, I booked a dream trip to Greece and let them figure out how it feels to be left out for once. Oh, you didn't know about the Bahamas trip? My sister Sarah's voice dripped with fake concern through the phone. I thought Mom told you. We're all going next month. Mom, Dad, me, and Brian. Someone needs to watch their pets while we're gone though. Mom said she'd ask you. I stood in my kitchen gripping my coffee mug so hard I thought it might break. My name is Lisa Mitchell. And at 27, I just discovered my entire family had planned a tropical vacation without bothering to include me. What made it worse was hearing about it accidentally, during what was supposed to be a casual call with my sister about our mom's upcoming birthday. No, Sarah. Mom hasn't mentioned anything about the Bahamas, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Or about pet sitting. Well, you know how she is. Sarah laughed. She probably forgot. But you're not busy anyway, right? You can watch Rocky and Max for the week. Mom was counting on you since you're the only one not going because they hadn't invited me. I thought about all the family dinners where they must have discussed this trip, carefully avoiding the topic when I was around. The whispered conversations that stopped when I entered the room suddenly made sense. The way my mom had been asking casual questions about my work schedule. Even my dad's recent interest in whether I was seeing anyone. Probably hoping I'd have weekend plans that wouldn't interfere with their pet-sitting needs. Later that evening my mom finally called. Honey, I've been meaning to talk to you. We need a favor. Let me guess. You need me to watch the dogs while you're all in the Bahamas? The bitterness in my voice was impossible to hide. Oh, Sarah told you? Yes. It would be such a help. You know Rocky gets anxious at the kennel, and Max needs his medication twice daily. We'll only be gone 8 days. I listened as my mom rambled about flight times and resort details, never once acknowledging that they'd excluded me from the family vacation. Not even a token, wish you could come, or maybe next time. She went on about the special food Rocky needed and Max's strict medication schedule, as if these details would somehow make up for the fact that they'd planned an entire family vacation without me. So you'll do it? She asked brightly. Your father already told the kennel we wouldn't need them, and Sarah's so excited. She found this perfect little resort with amazing snorkeling. You know how she loves the water. Of course he had. My family had always operated this way, making decisions that affected me without bothering to consult me first. To them, I was reliable Lisa, the responsible one who never made waves, never said no, never ruined their plans with her own inconvenient needs or desires. I'll think about it, I said quietly, already opening my laptop to a travel website. The pattern had started years ago. When Sarah was accepted to NYU, my parents threw a huge party, custom banners, catered food. All their friends invited to celebrate their youngest daughter's achievement. When I got into Boston University a year earlier, with a full academic scholarship no less, they simply nodded and said, "That's nice, dear." My acceptance letter stayed on the fridge for exactly 2 days before being replaced by Sarah's summer dance recital schedule. My sister had always been the family star. She was the fun one, the pretty one, the one who could do no wrong. Even when she dropped out of NYU after 2 years to find herself in Europe, my parents supported her adventure, sending her monthly allowances for what they called her self-discovery journey. Meanwhile, I worked 3 jobs through college, graduated summa cum laude, and built a successful career in marketing, all of which earned me the dubious privilege of being the family's reliable backup plan. That evening, after my mom's call, I found myself scrolling through travel websites. A particular destination caught my eye, Santorini, a small Greek island I'd dreamed of visiting since my college photography class. The dates perfectly overlapped with my family's Bahamas trip. And amazingly, there was a seat sale happening. My cursor hovered over the Book Now button as my phone buzzed with text from Sarah. Mom said you're being weird about watching the dogs. Come on, Lisa, don't be difficult. It's not like you have vacation days saved up anyway. Plus, what would you even do with time off? You never go anywhere fun. I actually had 3 weeks of vacation saved up. My family just assumed I never took time off because I had nowhere exciting to go. They'd forgotten about the travel blog I'd been running for 2 years. The one that had slowly gained a decent following. Another thing they dismissed as Lisa's little hobby. Just like they'd dismissed my photography in college and my writing in high school. My dad called next. Princess, your mother's upset. You know how Rocky gets at the kennel? He barely ate last time. Did it ever occur to any of you to invite me on the trip? I finally asked. The silence on the other end was telling. Well, he stumbled. Sarah mentioned you probably couldn't get time off work, and you know how your mother likes to plan these things. Plus, Brian already put down the deposit for their room. Right, I said flatly. Just like she planned my college graduation party? Oh wait, she didn't. Because Sarah's semester abroad came up suddenly, and everyone had to fly to Paris instead. That's not fair, Lisa. Your sister needed family support during her journey of self-discovery. I looked at my computer screen. At the picture of the beautiful Greek island waiting for me, something shifted inside me. Years of being the reliable one, the responsible one, the one they could always count on to sacrifice her own plans for theirs. It all crystallized into a moment of perfect clarity. I'll let you know about the dogs tomorrow, I said. Then hung up and clicked book now on my flight to Greece. The next morning, my phone was flooded with messages. My mom had sent 6 texts varying from guilt trips to outright demands. Sarah had left 3 voicemails, each more condescending than the last. Even my dad, who usually stayed out of family drama, had emailed me a lengthy explanation of why I was being unreasonable. I waited until our weekly family dinner to break the news. As usual, they were all gathered at my parents' house, discussing their upcoming Bahamas trip across my mom's lasagna. I've made alternate arrangements for those dates, I said during a pause in their conversation. You'll need to find someone else to watch Rocky and Max. My mom's fork clattered against her plate. What do you mean alternate arrangements? What could be more important than helping your family? My trip to Greece. I took a sip of water, watching their faces shift from confusion to disbelief. Greece? Sarah laughed. You're not going to Greece. I pulled up my confirmed itinerary on my phone and placed it on the table. Actually, I am. 8 days on Santorini, starting the same day you leave for the Bahamas. But you can't, my mom sputtered. What about the dogs? The kennel is fully booked. That sounds like poor planning on your part. I was surprised by how steady my voice remained. Maybe Sarah's boyfriend Brian could watch them since he's apparently family enough to go to the Bahamas. That's different, Sarah protested. Brian's my partner. Besides, he's allergic to dogs. How convenient. I stood up, gathering my things. I'm sure you'll figure something out. You always do when it's important to you. Lisa, sit down, my dad ordered. You're being childish. This isn't like you. That's the problem, isn't it? You all decided who I was supposed to be. Reliable Lisa, dependable Lisa, always available Lisa. Did it ever occur to any of you that I might want to be included in family vacations? That I might have my own plans? My own life? The silence around the table was deafening. My mom looked on the verge of tears, while Sarah sat with her mouth hanging open. My dad just stared at his plate, refusing to meet my eyes. I have to go, I said, heading for the door. I need to shop for swimsuits. Santorini has some amazing beaches. The fallout was exactly what I expected. My mom launched a full-scale guilt campaign, enlisting every relative who would listen. Aunt Carol called to tell me how selfish I was being. My cousin Rachel sent long texts about family loyalty. Even my grandmother weighed in, though she mostly seemed confused about why I couldn't watch the puppies from Greece. Sarah's approach was more direct. She showed up at my apartment unannounced. You're only doing this to spite us, she said, barging in without waiting for an invitation. This isn't like you, Lisa. You've always been the responsible one. The responsible one? I repeated. You mean the convenient one. The one who's supposed to drop everything when the rest of you need something. That's not fair. We appreciate everything you do. Really? When was the last time any of you showed that appreciation? When was the last time you included me in family plans, instead of just expecting me to fill in the gaps? Sarah flopped onto my couch. Her perfect blonde hair falling exactly right even in her frustration. We didn't think you'd want to come to the Bahamas. You're always so busy with work. Did you ask me? Did anyone bother to ask if I might want to join my family on vacation? Well, no, but nothing. You all made assumptions about my life, my time, my priorities. And you know what? You got so comfortable taking me for granted that you didn't even try to hide your Bahamas plans. That's how little you thought of me. Sarah's face flushed. Mom and Dad are really upset. They might have to cancel their trip if they can't find someone to watch the dogs. That sounds like a them problem, I replied, using one of Sarah's favorite phrases back at her. When did you get so cold? I'm not cold, I'm just done being the family doormat. I showed her my travel blog on my phone. See this? I have followers who actually care about my interests. I have a life outside of being your backup plan. Sarah scrolled through my blog, her expression shifting from dismissal to surprise. These photos are really good. When did you get into photography? 3 years ago, not that anyone noticed. The next family dinner was tense. My mom had spread all the pet supplies across the dining room table like a guilt exhibition. Rocky's special food, Max's medication schedule, their favorite toys. She kept shooting me pointed looks as she explained how complicated their care routine was. The medication has to be given exactly 12 hours apart, she emphasized, waving Max's pill bottle. And Rocky needs his special blanket at bedtime, or he gets anxious. The kennel just won't understand these things. I'm sure they will, I replied, serving myself more potatoes. That's literally their job. My dad cleared his throat. Princess, we could pay you to watch them, make it worth your while. My Greece tickets were $3,000, Dad. Non-refundable. Sarah, who'd been unusually quiet since her visit to my apartment, suddenly spoke up. I looked at Lisa's travel blog last week. Did you guys know she has over 20,000 followers? My mom barely glanced up from her organization of pet supplies. That's nice, dear. Now about the dogs. No, Mom, I'm serious. Look at these photos she took in Montreal last year. Sarah pulled up my blog on her phone. She's actually really good at this. For the first time that evening, my mom actually looked at me. Not through me, not around me, but at me. You went to Montreal? I've been to lots of places. I take short trips whenever I can. I write about them, photograph them. People follow my recommendations about hotels and restaurants. My dad peered at Sarah's phone. These are professional quality pictures, Lisa. Why didn't you tell us about this? I did. 3 Thanksgivings ago, you all changed the subject to Sarah's new yoga certification. The silence that followed was heavy with realization. My mom sat down heavily, still clutching Rocky's favorite tennis ball. We haven't been very good at listening to you, have we? No, I said simply. You haven't. But that doesn't change the fact that we need someone to watch the dogs, she added quickly. And just like that, the moment was gone. I stood up. I'm going to Greece, Mom, with or without your blessing. Maybe it's time you all learned what it feels like to have your plans disrupted. As my departure date approached, my family cycled through all 5 stages of grief. My mom moved from denial to anger, calling me ungrateful. My dad tried bargaining, offering to pay for a different Greece trip when it's more convenient. Sarah oscillated between depression, you're ruining everything, and acceptance. Maybe we should have invited you. 2 days before my flight, my mom made one final attempt. She showed up at my apartment with photo albums. Pictures of me watching Sarah's dog when she was in Europe, taking care of our childhood pets, being the responsible one. You've always been so good with animals, she said, flipping through the pages. Remember how you nursed Sarah's hamster back to health in high school? I remember. I also remember missing my friend's sweet 16 party to do it, while Sarah was at the beach with her friends. That's different. You didn't mind back then. No, Mom, I did mind. I just wasn't allowed to say so. She closed the album with a snap. Well, I hope you're happy. We had to cancel our trip. The kennel is full and no one else can take the dogs for that long. I didn't respond immediately, just pulled out my laptop and turned it to face her. On the screen was a message from my building's pet-friendly neighbor, Mrs. Chen, confirming she'd watch Rocky and Max for a fee. I found you a solution, I said. Mrs. Chen is retired, loves dogs, and lives 2 floors down. She's happy to do it for what you would have paid the kennel. My mom stared at the screen. But why didn't you tell us sooner? Because for once I wanted you all to feel what it's like not to have me as your backup plan. To understand what it feels like when someone disrupts your carefully made plans without considering your feelings. That's rather petty, don't you think? No, Mom, that's rather human. And maybe next time you're planning a family vacation, you'll remember this feeling and think to include your other daughter. The morning of my flight, I woke up to a series of notifications. My mom had tagged me in a social media post, something she'd never done before. It was a picture from my travel blog, one I'd taken in Montreal, with a lengthy caption about how proud she was of her talented daughter, and how she couldn't wait to see the beautiful photos from Greece. Sarah texted immediately. Mom's trying to save face with her country club friends. She's telling everyone she helped plan your Greece trip. I wasn't surprised. Image had always been everything to my mom. She'd probably realized that having a daughter with a successful travel blog was something she could brag about at her tennis club. But her attempt at public support didn't erase years of dismissal. My dad dropped by before I left for the airport, awkwardly holding a new camera lens. Your sister showed me your blog, he said, holding out the lens. I noticed you mentioned wanting this one for low-light shots. I thought maybe you could use it in Greece. The lens was exactly the one I'd been saving up for. Part of me wanted to refuse it, to show them I didn't need their belated support. But I saw something in my dad's eyes I'd never seen before. Genuine interest in my passion. Thanks, Dad, I said, accepting the gift. Want to see some of the shots I plan to get with it? He sat with me for an hour, actually listening as I explained about composition and lighting. He even pulled up my blog on his phone and followed it, right there in front of me. You know, he said as he was leaving, I canceled my share of the Bahamas trip. Told your mother and sister to go without me. Dad, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. Someone needs to watch the dogs properly, and Mrs. Chen might need backup. He paused at the door. Plus, I want to see these Greece photos as you post them. Maybe you could teach me how to comment on a blog. That afternoon, as I boarded my flight to Greece, my phone buzzed with messages. Sarah had sent a surprisingly sincere, "Have a great trip, sis. Your pictures better be amazing." My mom had texted instructions for accessing their home security cameras so I could check on the dogs, missing the point entirely. but at least she'd stopped guilt-tripping me. But it was my dad's message that brought tears to my eyes. Just posted my first blog comment. Hope I did it right. Make sure to take care of yourself in Greece, not just your camera. Love, Dad. I settled into my seat, thinking about how sometimes it takes a dramatic gesture to shake people out of their established patterns. My family had spent years casting me in the role of reliable background character in their story. Maybe now they'd finally seen me step into the spotlight of my own narrative. Santorini was everything I dreamed of and more. Each morning, I woke up to spectacular sunrises over the blue-domed churches, spending my days photographing winding cobblestone streets and pristine beaches. My blog followers loved the daily updates, but what surprised me most were the comments from my family. My dad commented on every single post, his typing improving from beautiful sunset honey to actual thoughtful observations about lighting and composition. Sarah shared my posts on her own social media, tagging me with messages like, "Look what my amazing sister is doing." A complete turnaround from her usual competitiveness. My mom, however, took a different approach. She called daily with updates about the dogs, as if trying to remind me of what I'd left behind. "Rocky misses you," she'd say, or "Max won't eat unless your father hand feeds him." When those guilt trips didn't work, she switched tactics, calling to critique my photos. "Don't you think you're posting too many sunset pictures? And that restaurant review seemed a bit harsh. You don't want to hurt anyone's business." One evening, sitting at a cliffside cafe, I got an unexpected call from Mrs. Chen. "Your mother has been here 6 times today," she said, sounding amused. "She brings coffee and asks endless questions about my pet sitting experience. I think she's having trouble letting go of control." "I'm so sorry," I started. But Mrs. Chen laughed. "Don't be." I told her that after 40 years of teaching high school, 2 dogs are no trouble. She didn't like that much. That same night, my dad sent me a private message. "Your mother booked herself into a hotel for the remainder of their Bahamas trip. Says she can't enjoy herself knowing strangers are watching her dogs. Sarah's pretty upset about it." I felt a momentary pang of guilt, but then remembered all the times my plans, my needs, my desires had been dismissed for the sake of family harmony. My mom's choice to ruin her own vacation wasn't my responsibility. Instead of cutting my trip short or apologizing, I posted more photos. I wrote about solo female travel, about breaking free from family expectations, about finding your own path. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of comments from people sharing similar stories, thanking me for inspiring them to stand up for themselves. My blog following doubled, then tripled. A travel magazine reached out about featuring my Greece photos. Sarah called to tell me that her yoga students were all following my journey, asking when I'd come teach a photography workshop at her studio. "You know what's funny?" she said. "I always thought I was the brave one going to Europe to find myself, but you're the one who really did it. You found yourself right under our noses, and we were too busy with our own drama to notice." On my last night in Greece, sat on my hotel balcony uploading photos, when my mom sent a surprising message. It was a picture of my old bedroom, now her home office, filled with framed prints of my travel photography. "I had your best shots professionally framed," she wrote. "Thought they deserved better than my social media reposts." Below that was a longer message. "I've been doing a lot of thinking while you've been gone. Your dad pointed out something I didn't want to hear, that we'd taken you for granted for so long. We forgot you had dreams of your own. I'm not very good at apologies, but I'm trying to do better at showing you I care." Mrs. Chen sent me daily dog photos, each one showing Rocky and Max being perfectly fine without my mom's hovering. The last one showed my dad teaching her how to use my blog, both of them smiling at the camera while the dogs lounged contentedly nearby. Sarah's final vacation photos from the Bahamas looked different from her usual carefully staged shots. "Trying to see things through your photographer's eyes," she captioned them. "Not as good as yours, but I'm learning to look deeper." Something had shifted during those 8 days. My family was far from perfect. My mom still sent daily texts about the dogs. My dad still struggled with technology. And Sarah still had moments of competitive jealousy, but they were trying. Sometimes that's all you can ask for. Not a complete transformation, but a willingness to see you in a new light. 6 months after my Greek adventure, my family gathered for Thanksgiving. The dining room walls now featured a mix of my travel photographs alongside our traditional family portraits. My mom had turned my blog's logo into place cards for the table, a small gesture that spoke volumes. "We've got an announcement," my mom said during dinner. "We're planning another family vacation." I braced myself for more exclusion, but Sarah jumped in. "And before you say anything, we want you to help plan it. Your blog followers loved your Greece content so much, we thought maybe you could work your magic on our next family trip." My dad pulled out a folder. "I've been researching photography tours in Italy. Thought maybe you could teach us a thing or two about taking better pictures than just selfies and dog photos. Plus," my mom added, trying to sound casual, "Mrs. Chen already agreed to watch Rocky and Max. I asked her months ago just to be sure." I looked around the table at my family, really looked at them. My mom, still controlling, but trying to channel it differently. My dad, discovering a new connection with me through photography. Sarah, finally seeing me as a person rather than competition. Italy sounds perfect, I said, pulling out my phone to show them some initial ideas. But this time I'm handling the itinerary. Wouldn't have it any other way, my dad smiled. After all, you're the expert now.